Welcome to Joe's Place, the Joe Giannotti podcast. Tonight, I will be putting my meteorological skills to the test and track Hurricane Henri, which is forecasted to make landfall in the Northeast on Sunday, August 21st. I will be looking at the latest weather models and taking audience questions on the storm. And a good Saturday evening to everyone. Once again, this is episode 9 of Joe's Place, the Joe Giannotti podcast. I am your host, Joe Giannotti, and you could follow me on Twitter at Joe Giannotti. Tonight, we're going to do something a little different. Lately, I've been doing I've been doing COVID-related stuff, and it's a lot, and I have more to come. And before I even begin, my prayers and my well wishes go out to my next door neighbors. They contracted COVID and they found out yesterday that they tested positive. They had gone for an IV today. Hopefully it was monoclonal antibodies. And I will find out the latest and I will give you an update as we go along. But tonight I'm going to spend the night tracking Hurricane Henri, which is forecasted to make landfall somewhere in the Northeast. Looks like right now the Twin Forks are a beeline for getting hit. So we're going to show, all the weather models. We're going to show some of the different forecasts that around in the next few hours. And please, I'm taking audience questions tonight too. So please feel free to ask any questions that I might have. I'll put them up on the screen and I will ask. So without further ado, let's go right to it. For the latest information, of course, and I use this site all the time. Please, use the National Hurricane Center. You can see where Henri is. Grace hit Mexico yesterday as a significant hurricane. Now it's just remnants with a lot of rain. So we're gonna go right to Henri. Henri right now moving northeast at 18 miles an hour as of 5 p.m. Location 36.3 north, 71.4 west. 75 mile an hour minimum sustained hurricane. Again, forecasted to make landfall. And let's show, of course, the infamous cone of uncertainty, which, again, has been pretty consistent in the past few days with landfall looks like either right on the Twin Forks in Montauk Point or just east and making landfall in Rhode Island. So let's go right to the models. Let me bring that up and we will begin. Site that I like to use is WeatherBell. WeatherBell is an outstanding site, and I highly recommend a subscription to them. I actually am not logged in, so I'm going to take a quick 30-second break while I log in. Oh, I'm not on there, so I could log in now. Kind of things spur the moment. So just give me a moment, and I'm going to log myself in. And just bear with me for one moment. And I'll bring that up and we'll go over it. All right, I am now logged in. We're going to take a look at the 18Z models. And then before I leave tonight, the 0Z models will start coming out and we'll at least look at the NAM. The NAM has been the most interesting during this. So let's, without further ado, let me begin. And I'm going to start I'm going to share screen. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I am going to let me share screen. Window. Okay. And we're going to start off with the GFS. Start off with the GFS. That's the American model. I see how temperature has been pretty hot, especially in the South. Well, it is August. Let's see. The best one I've been using here has been Hartford, Connecticut. So I'm going to start here. Let's look at. We'll start with precip. I know there's been a couple of feeder bands that have started to trickle, and I do want to show that. So you'll notice that we're going to have some stuff coming in periodically. This is midnight Eastern, so you see it's just isolated stuff. So the rain part of it does not really begin until between 7 and 8 a.m., at least with the GFS. It might start. I think it's going to start a little sooner than that, but as you see, worst of it's going to be out east. I think before I even begin, and what I should have done is should have posted, should show a satellite image. I'm going to show a satellite image currently of the storm. I think that would be good to show how big, small it is for everybody. Here it is. And sorry, I have to drag over here. There it is. There's the latest infrared. And kind of looks, it looks pretty ragged. I'm actually was planning to do a future podcast on the 30th anniversary of Hurricane Bob, which ravaged Long Island and the Northeast. Much, much stronger storm in Bob. It had sustained winds of 115 miles an hour that just missed Montauk Point and hit Rhode Island and Massachusetts straight on. Oop, did not mean to do that. So there it is. I'll play it. I don't even know if... There you go. So you can see right now. We're going to get our... Andrew, thank you very much. However, it kind of looks ragged. It is a nasty... It's going to be a nasty storm, especially with the rainfall. But again, it's just ragged right now. It's trying to get better organized. It looks like maybe this evening and maybe in the next few hours it can get better organized. But compared to what I have seen, it doesn't look all that impressive to me. It's not full structure, only within the center of circulation, which pretty much probably here, I would say. Here, and then center circulation. So, and please, if you want to share this I'm going to share this between, I'm going to take a couple of breaks, and I will be sharing this. So please feel free to take a look at this. And we will look at the satellite periodically as we go on through the evening for the latest. So let's go back to the GFS. So kind of doing a pretty good job showing that the size of it, not that big. But all right, by the way, this is noontime Sunday. So let's see. By then, it has it has the track. This is the sustained wind, 10-meter wind at noon. And you notice that it's east of Montauk Point, according to GFS, at 18Z, which is the 2 o'clock model run. And I gotta say, worst of it's the south and the east, which is kind of what you see here. South, east, not really much to the west. So, and again, if you look here, sustained winds. I mean, right here is Islip MacArthur Airport right here, 14 miles an hour. Here at Montauk Point, I'm going to enlarge this for the audience. That's 53. Maximum sustained, 64 miles an hour. So that's tropical storm. Here are the gusts. And gusts aren't all that good. Let me show here. This is better off here. Here's the wind swath. Gust 71 at Montauk Point. Here's, I believe this is FOK right here. Even there, that's Shirley. Shirley's only gusting to 39 miles an hour. This is FOK. FOK is at 45. Tropical storm. I mean, it's tropical storm, but again, you can see how tight the wind gradient is. Even a span of, we'll say, 60 miles. Here to here is roughly 60 miles. Tremendous change. And then even 60 miles further, here to here, the city only has winds gusting to 20 miles an hour. So it's not all that impressive. That's why I've been saying positioning and timing is everything. And that's always the case with these storms. Since I might have others from the Northeast watching, I'm going to show the rest of it. The GFS, landfall, with the worst of it, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. This is around 2 o'clock and getting nasty around 2. So I'm not all that, again, based on this model, I'm not all that impressed. Now let's take a look at the rain. A lot of rain, though. So you're still going to get some rain out of it. Let me bring up 24-hour, and we'll end it at, this is 2 a.m. Monday. So this is the 24-hour rainfall. Again, very tight gradient, even from Islip MacArthur Airport, which is right here at 1.57, to Farmingdale's Republic, half an inch. Huge gradient with the storm. And then even from Islip to Montauk, Montauk's forecasting at 4.5 inches of rain, according to the GFS. Now I'm going to take a look at the NAM and other models to see. We'll take a look at the European as well. And we'll look at, so I'm just looking at the comments right now, just the one from Andrew. Please feel free to comment. I'm going to be going through this throughout the evening, and I'm going to be posting this. So let's continue on with the NAM. Here, we'll go right to the NAM. We'll go right to the low resolution NAM. And Weather Bell does an outstanding job, and give them all the kudos around. What I should also be doing, of course, I'm looking at winter, and I should be looking at this. So this is right now. There you go. So This model, the high resolution NAM, has been consistently the worst. They have been going with sustained winds of minimal hurricane, and they continue to have that. They continue to have, because you'll see right here, max wind 75.3. This is, again, noon, just off Montauk Point, a little bit further west. I can tell you right now, these sustained winds, that, just looking at it, it's a 70 on the sustained wind for Montauk. It's a 70. And they're also on the northeast side. Landfall is between Suffolk County Airport and Montauk. And that's 1 o'clock. Winds, of course, because it's 20 to 30 miles to the west, you notice that the winds sustain FOK at 44, Shirley 37, Islip 32, and then further west. And we'll go over that in a moment of where the watches and warnings, because I should have done that right from the beginning, but start going through the models, and I want to continue doing that in a moment. Again, 72 at 2 p.m. Montauk Point. Then there's a big disparity. Then it starts tailing down as the storm weakens because it made land interaction. Second landfall, 4 o'clock. Let's go to the gusts. And I'm going to go back. So let's go back to noon. Here, noon. Gust. It says here, peak gust, 94 miles an hour. Right here, I'm going to blow this up because I want to see this. 89 miles an hour. Just give me one moment. Bring that back. 89 mile an hour wind gust, if this model is right. Montauk Point, noon tomorrow. Then 66 as it makes landfall, but I think it's probably still hurricane force at that point, gusts. Even here, 61. I believe that's Southampton. Even Islip, gusting to 52. So timing and positioning mean everything here. Block Island. Farmingdale, 44. So gusting to tropical storm force, even in Nassau and the city. Kennedy's gusting to 43, LaGuardia at 39. So, and Islip still continues to be 54. This is now 3 p.m. Here's 4 p.m. 50. Interestingly enough, it has the strongest wind gusts at Islip at 4 p.m. at 58 miles an hour. And still gusts just offshore at 85. Very interesting. Very, very interesting model run here. And then weekends. So 20, 30 miles means everything right now with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break, very quick, about 60 seconds. I'm going to promote this, and I want to try to get some more people on here. And because I want to take questions tonight. I think it would be good to take questions as well. I'll continue showing. As a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll continue showing the the high-res NAM, and I will talk about the high-res NAM and the precip that's forecasted. You saw 4.5 inches with the GFS for eastern Suffolk County. So we'll take a look at the NAM, and let me return very shortly. So I am now back, and I just wanted to promote the podcast. And please share it. If you have anyone in the Northeast living in, either on Long Island or in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, please share it. Please feel free to ask me any questions during this. We're going to go right back to it. Here is we were just showing the NAM, the wind profile for the NAM. And what I'm going to do is let me show that again for the new audience that's coming in. GFS was 30 miles to the east and weaker, with winds gusting to 75 miles an hour and sustained winds around 65. The NAM, and we're going to go right back to noon. This is noon tomorrow. Sustained wind at Montauk Point, 70. Max wind, 75 miles an hour. Makes landfall, as you see, 1 o'clock. With sustained winds, obviously at the eye, if there's a small eye, it's weak. But sustained wind, and it says 54. I think it would be stronger at Montauk unless they are in the eye itself. But these winds are roughly 70 miles an hour over here. This is Islip MacArthur Airport, 32, 44 at Suffolk County Airport. Then we're going to go to 2 o'clock. Winds start getting a little more intense again. This is 62 miles an hour. This is sustained, by the way. This is not gusts. Here, let me bring up the gusts. Gusts at that time. There's a forecasted gust, Montauk Point, 89 miles an hour tomorrow, noon, according to the high-res NAM. GFS was a little bit less. We were showing that earlier. You can go back when I finish. And we'll show it again. I'll show that again for new audience. And please feel free, as I said, to ask questions tonight. But the worst of the wind, strangely, according to this model, because it's more inland and makes 2 landfalls, this is Islip MacArthur Airport. That's a 58-mile-an-hour wind gust at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Suffolk County Airport. Sorry, this is Shirley. 58. Suffolk County Airport. 56. 57 Southampton. 51 even in Farmingdale. And Kennedy, 45. So you've got tropical storm force gusts. 5 hours. 6 hours. Pretty much rest of the night. So that's very interesting. And now I'm going to bring up, before I bring up anything else, I'm going to go to 2 a.m. and look at the 24-hour. This is, 60. This is the precip. Huge gradient on the precip. So here's the 24-hour. Because it's further west, look how much more. 25 to 30 miles difference makes all the difference. 25, 30 miles. You have at Islip 5.5 inches of rain. Suffolk County Airport, almost 7, along with Shirley. Interestingly enough, Montauk Point only had 1 inch, but that's wrong. I could tell you that that's going to be off. Southampton, 5. So here's the difference. I'm going to bring up the GFS. Let me bring up the GFS. Same map. GFS. I'm going to bring up the same exact map. 24-hour cities. And I'm using Hartford because it actually works out better. Just to show Long Island. See how much less? Because the track is further east. Here compared to here. It's about 30 miles. 30 miles plus one other note. NAM has a larger storm. Here's the latest. Now, does it start blowing up? I mean, you notice it's starting to get stronger. It's starting to get itself together again. It looked very ragged until about 90 minutes ago. So that's going to be something we're going to be looking at this evening as well. And for some of you, you may have noticed maybe some rain and have some feeder, starting a couple of feeder bands coming through. Brief, nothing significant right now, but I just wanted to, just address that. So let's see if we have any questions. We have, hi, Joseph. Hope you're having a great evening. And thank you for watching. And please share this. I just want to give an update on Hurricane Henri. No, it is not. It is not the worst since, I'm going to say this right now. It is not the worst since Gloria in 1985. We just celebrated the 30th anniversary of Hurricane Bob, which occurred on August 19th, 1991. And that storm was very, very powerful. Power out, stories I've heard, power out for 2 weeks in many areas. And on Long Island and Connecticut, Rhode Island, Cape Cod. Winds sustained 105 miles an hour, 105 to 115, with gusts around 130. So I was planning to do a podcast about that storm. However, I decided I'm going to hold that back for a while because obviously we have a current issue at hand, and I just wanted to go over, for the audience, my friends, family, and all those that live in between Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, just what the different models are showing, as well as, as you see the satellite. So I'm going to go right back to it. Let's go right back. I'll pause this. We will go to the next model we will go to is the HRRR. So HRRR. And this one I might bring to New York. Yeah, that one might be better off to bring to New York. No, Hartford. Now, interestingly enough, HRRR has it. Okay, this is sustained wind. So weaker. However, more inland. That's very interesting. I was not expecting to see that. And the HRRR only goes out 24 hours. And as you see, it moves it 30 miles even further west, where landfall is closer to Shirley and Suffolk County Airport. Let's see if it does any decent job. No, it doesn't even have the product for that. So sorry. Gusts between 50 and 65 miles an hour. Of course, Twin Forks would be on the wrong side. Sorry, the Northeast Quad or the Eastern Quad, and their gusts would be stronger than everybody else. I got to tell you, that is very interesting. And I am going to take a very close look on that as we go along, because that, I was not expecting that. Here, there, wow. Now, the Wharf HRW has been, it's been showing it making landfall right toward the city. I don't see it. I really don't. All the other models have been showing, and let's go to the here's the European. Now we'll go to the tropical ones in a moment. We have specific tropical models. So here's 8 a.m. Winds, though, only 50 miles an hour. I think that's underdoing it. I think winds are going to be a little bit stronger than 50. However, let's take a look at the gusts. And by the way, Montauk Point, landfall. Gusts. I mean, Montauk's right in the center, so it would be less. But, I mean, you're talking 11 a.m. and gusts here 60 to 65 miles an hour here. Even gusts at Islip 41. Here's 50 at Shirley. I mean, parts of Connecticut 53. This, I believe, this is New Haven. Here's 50. So, and then you notice it starts weakening. But these are gusts. So, interesting. Oh, sorry. Let's continue. Oh, let's go to the H Wharf. These are specific hurricane models. So the dynamics, and these are specifically for hurricane models. Here's the H Wharf for 18Z. Very interesting. And I'm going to be saying very interesting all night probably. So because this was a nudge. I want to take a comparison. Yeah. That's why I said very interesting, because right just off Montauk Point at the 12Z run, 18Z run is clearly further east and heading right into Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Again, 30 miles makes all the difference with this. So if you're within 30 miles of the center of circulation, you're going to get the most rain. You're going to get the strongest winds. And that's where the highest likelihood of damage is going to occur, between trees, power lines. PSE&G put out a statement yesterday for Long Island: prepare for 7 to 10-day power outages. And essentially, if you're within that 30-mile bullseye, that's going to be very likely. But this is very, very intriguing. So you have sustained. This is at 8 a.m., 70 to 75 miles an hour, just below hurricane force. Here's 11, 60 to 65. Then about 50. Let's go to gusts. And then I'll look at precinct. Oh, I'm sorry. This is knots. So I'll do the conversion. So knots, 60 is roughly, 64 is a hurricane. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Oh, this is only wind speeds. I'm sorry. My apologies. I thought this was gusts. But, I mean, I would say the gusts would be, with this, 85 to 90. At landfall, say landfall 60, you would have probably gusts around hurricane force, category 1. But yet, you notice, here's Islip, 12 miles an hour, 13 miles an hour, nothing more than 15, 20 miles an hour. I think that's also underdone. It would probably be, you would think, a little stronger. This doesn't give totals, so, but let's go to the HMON. Let's see. 70. Again, interesting. Pretty much similar spot and a little further east. So the hurricane-specific models are going further east. And I want to look at the GFS again, because I believe they're more in suit with the GFS than they are with the other models. Yeah, GFS. So the two hurricane models are pretty much in suit with the GFS. So it's kind of a battle right now between the NAM, European, further westward of Long Island, GFS, and the hurricane models further eastward, where it's the worst of it would be the Forks, Rhode Island, Eastern Connecticut, Massachusetts. By the way, for those that are curious, every model has landfall. So at this point, here's one. What's going on, man? Hope you're having a great night. And I'm doing pretty well. Just tracking Hurricane Henri. And let's bring up, while we have a little bit of time, I'm going to bring up the watches and warnings because I think it's very important right now. I should have done that a little earlier. Here's the latest satellite. Let's see. This satellite image. 7:56. So as you could tell, it's starting to gather, it's starting to look better organized. Getting better organized. Even from the last, say, 90 minutes. Most of the day, it looked pretty ragged. So I'm kind of glad to see that the models are doing well, showing the better organization as it's moving further north to the northeast. I would prefer that this takes a right turn and we don't have to worry about it, but it doesn't look that way. So, which is a bummer. I'm going to bring up radar. They bring up radar, just show what's going on. Some of the feeder bands. That's why if you see some heavy showers coming in, that's the reason why. By the way, I have been a subscriber for WeatherTap since at least 2003. I think there was 1 year I took off and then went back in 2009, and I've been a member since. And I use WeatherTap all the time, religiously, and I think it's $8.95 a month. You're gonna make. Since I'm looking, let's see. How much is it a month? I didn't realize I could add users. Let's see here. Say $10 a month, and I'll write it. I'll try to find a WeatherTap post on that later, but anyway, they have a nice high-res radar. That's what I'm going to bring up right now. But for those who, I know many people have been watching, I have over 200 subscribers now, and I thank every one of my subscribers. By the way, interesting. One of those feeder bands just dumped some rain, decent rain too. There's been a lot of rain in the city this year. There's been photos everywhere. Let's see. I'm looking at the overlays. I'm trying to get rid of. There we go. So this is one of the first feeder bands. Got some stuff offshore right now, and I know there was one person watching earlier who lives around here. And just FYI, you're getting ready to go into some heavy rain. So, once again, see how everything's developing offshore. I mean, there's so much moisture in the air right now. The temperatures here, I'll bring it there. I think, probably a good idea to bring that up. Of course, doing this live is not the best thing, but I have been busy doing some prep all day. Dew points are in the mid 70s here, 77 over 75 at Islip. Kennedy, 74 over 74. LaGuardia is 75 over 72. Newark, 78 over 73. Meaning temp 77, dew point 75. Sorry for those that are not familiar with what I'm saying. Pretty much right now, it looks like the storm is going to pretty much be steady, 75 to 80 mile an hour winds at the max. I don't see any evidence right now. I'm talking about sustained. Gusts at the peak, maybe 90 to 95, with gusts. I don't see anything stronger than that. And most of the models actually have landfall as a tropical storm. So that's, if I had to make a guess right now, I would say at landfall, sustain 65 to 75 with gusts 80 to 90. Wherever, unfortunately, that one area that's going to get hit. I see where you are, and I'm just going to quickly do a quick search. Yeah, based on where I see you are, Gelios, based on where I see where you are, the worst for you. And let me bring up the GFS, because I think the GFS has been handling things relatively well. So I want to, I'll bring up the GFS, and I'll bring up the NAM too. I'll bring up both, because it does show two different. I would say for Eastern Connecticut, I mean, we're talking gusts at the worst in your neck of the woods, 55 to 60, sustain 50. For you, it's a rain. It's definitely a rainmaker. I mean, we're talking, at least with the GFS, 2 to 3 inches of rain. Let's go to the NAM. NAM, a little less because it has a further westward track with the high-res NAM. Yeah, let's look at the low-res NAM too. I know both solutions have been different. Throughout. And I do want to bring up that because I think that would be good to show. Let's see here. Okay. Interesting here. It only has winds up to 50, but I think it's much stronger. I don't see. I mean, this is actually a very good solution. However, I'm not the biggest fan of the winds. I think they're going to be much stronger. Also, you notice the low res NAM, or this is the medium. I think there is a higher, even a wider one. There's definitely a higher NAM. But I'm not going to show that because it's kind of goofy to me. But again, similar to the hurricane models, similar to the GFS. It's very similar. where it's more Rhode Island, Massachusetts. And then they all go further westward, but then they weaken because of the land interaction. However, it then becomes a huge rainmaker. So if you look at precip totals, I mean, that's where you see some of the precip totals are insane. I mean, here's MacArthur Airport right here, and they're calling for 6 to 8 inches of rain. That is something we need to be aware of, is that there could be massive flooding with this. Tomorrow is not a day to travel. Unless you have to travel, unless you necessarily have to travel. Again, I'm going to keep showing this throughout the evening. Here, this is there. I just paused it. Right now, by Hofstra University, they're having a heavy rain squall. It's going to be pouring in western Suffolk, eastern Nassau very shortly. Southern reaches of Suffolk County, southwestern Suffolk County, it is pouring right now. So, again, because it's just so muggy out, just so humid, you'll start, some of these feeder bands are just developing just very quickly ahead of the storm. Let me see how far I can bring this out. Let's see. Don't allow. All right. Now it's still too far from the radar. You can't really see it. But you can start seeing different feeder bands. You can still see them on, you can see some of them on satellite. But I mean, the one thing that hasn't really been talked about as much, because everyone's talking about the wind, one thing that hasn't really been talked about as much as the rain. This could be a lot of rain. And I'm thinking the areas, now that I'm seeing the areas to the west are getting a lot of rain, I'm thinking that that the whole region's going to get 4 to 8 inches of rain tomorrow. If anything, points to the east might actually get a little bit less. Their winds are going to be worse, but as you see right now, I mean, we are 8:15 p.m. Eastern time, and this is not making landfall for another 16 hours. But because it's so muggy and so humid, these feeder bands just can develop out of just very quickly and then move. They're moving 55, 60 miles an hour. I'm actually going to go to the Weather Service site. I do want to check the number of. I just want to see. Let's see. Local statement. Oh, I've gone 1 hour and not even brought up the advisories. Let's do that right now. So, start with the hurricane warning. Hurricane warning is out through Sunday evening. 4. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I'm gonna bring up It's better off bring up the Hurricane Center on this because they put it in much simpler language, and I don't want to confuse anybody. Here we go. Oh, plus here's the 8 o'clock. Good. I'm actually glad that I brought this up. 8 o'clock, as you see, 255 miles south of Montauk Point, moving north-northeast. That's an interesting development. If the trend continues on that north-northeast, or 20 degrees, it says 18 miles an hour. All right. Let's say it stays at the 18 to 20 miles an hour. $13 from now. Let's see. 255 divided by... That's between 13 and 14 hours from now. So the models are actually underestimating the timing. So based on that, I'm going to say landfall is going to be before noon tomorrow. Based on this advisory, based on the fact that it's only 255 miles, the center of circulation is only 255 miles south of Montauk Point and moving at 18 miles an hour. And no, I am not convinced. Let me read the discussion real quick. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a very quick break. I want to read the discussion real quick. And then I'm going to take Popcorn Fairy's question, which evening, I'm in the Springfield, Hokie area, Massachusetts, so I'm watching this one. I will give you an update on Massachusetts in a little bit. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to take a quick break. I want to read the discussion, the latest discussion from the Hurricane Center real quick, because I am not buying that the one thing that I am not buying from the models is landfall is 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. tomorrow. Of course, I'm also getting a phone call on them at it, and I'm very sorry on that, but I'm going to take a quick break. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up the satellite. I'm going to put up the satellite right now of Henri, and I will be right back. And I think I want to read the discussion and then come back and find out what's going on in reference to speed, because the models are totally off on the speed. They're off by almost 6 hours. And I want to make sure that I get a stronger stranglehold on that for everybody, because I'm saying forecast between noon and 2. Right now, it looks like forecast is between 9 and noon tomorrow morning. Based on what I see. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show satellite of Henri, and I will be right back. All right, so I'm back, and I wanted to now I understand the justification for the slowing down, which is forecasted tomorrow. So one thing I do know is that there is, and again, I want to try and make sure I say this so everybody can understand and not just the meteorological nerds. So let me bring up the models, and I'm going to show you why the slowdown is going to occur. I mean, I've known all along about the timing and the positioning of this cutoff low, but I did not think that this would be the reason for the timing to be slower. The question was, with the cutoff low, where is it going to move more west? Is it going to move due north? Let's show that. And I'm going to show you let's show it with the GFS. So here's GFS. And let's go upper air heights. Okay. And again, this is the nerdy stuff that I try not to. I know people like being nerded out sometimes, but you can tell right here, there's an upper level, cutoff low, weakening. To me, it's weak. To me, it's not even all that. It doesn't even look all that strong to me. But because of that, it is leaning toward, and you could tell it's a low because you see how the winds are in a circular form. But then, this is the $1 million question, is it dissolves, but what time does it dissolve? Here, it's a little later, where the westward tilt begins later. I'm going to bring up the same map with the NAM, with the European. See? Very interesting. See how it dissolves 3 hours sooner, which means it starts shifting to the west 3 hours sooner. The positioning of that cutoff low is everything. And I brought up earlier how 25 to 30 miles means everything with this storm. That is the $1 million question right now. The positioning of that low, which right now, again, it's weak. But the timing is, what time does it dissolve? If it dissolves around here, if it dissolves, say, 12Z, it's got 3 hours to move westward, meaning northwestward, before landfall. The positioning of that cutoff low is also the reason why this storm is going to start slowing down. So, as you're going to see, it's just going to start meandering because there's nothing to push it out. And this is actually a really good image to show. It's just meandering. And it meanders for 2 days. And the young lady that asked me about Massachusetts, we're going to get into Massachusetts in a minute, because if this storm is meandering for a couple of days, almost interestingly enough, there was a storm back in 2012 that a lot of Long Islanders and Mid-Atlantic gang and people remember, of course, in Sandy. And the problem was there was nothing to move it away. So what was wild about Sandy, though, was that on one side of the storm, you had thunderstorms and hurricane-force wind gusts. And on the other side of the storm, you had a blizzard. which was the most insane meteorological event that I've ever lived through in my life. And that's where weather could be just so crazy. But here's the GFS. Because it's a little faster on the landfall before the weakening, then you notice the meander. Then you notice meandering before it gets taken away with an upper level jet. But very interesting. When does that cutoff low weaken? Because that cutoff low right now is the reason why it's moving at 18 miles an hour. But right now, when that low weakens is $1 million question. Because if that low weakens 3 to 6 hours sooner, that storm's moving further west. And therefore, there's nothing to move it because we're then in a ridge situation. We're then in a ridge situation, which would then cause the speed to just start meandering. And then therefore seeing the totals. But let's go to Massachusetts because we've been talking about Long Island and Connecticut. I want to go into Massachusetts since we have someone on here from there. And if someone's going to be watching later on from that area, I'd like to talk about that neck of the woods because they're going to be hit. They're going to be on the Northeast Quad during this. So let's go back to the surface. Surface. Okay. Let's go wind first. So, wind first. Again, let me see where this person's from. Springfield. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, Springfield. Make sure I'm not wrong. So please, I want to make sure that I'm. Yes, Western Mass. So that's what I thought. I thought it was closer to Albany. So again, once it makes landfall, it's going to start weakening. So we're thinking sustained winds at its worst in your neck of the woods, maybe 30 gusts, maybe 40 to 45 on the gusts. I think the worst thing for that part of Massachusetts, or much less most of Massachusetts, except if landfall's further, if landfall is quicker and further east than Cape Cod, Boston, Worcester, going to get hit hard with the wind. If it's slower, takes till noon, 2 o'clock for landfall, like what the models are suggesting, and with the cutoff low completely weakening, forming a ridge, which would then mean that there is nowhere. This thing's going to start meandering around. As the models show, it's just meandering as it dissolves with the jet. I gotta tell you. Well, let me take a look. I'll look at rainfall. I mean, you see the swath. I might have to go 72 hours because I'm going to bring up to here. This is this is 72-hour forecast. I mean, because of the meandering and not moving that fast, I mean, the forecast for rain could be 4 to 5 inches. Give me one moment. There are people texting me that want to get in, and I want to make sure that they get in. So, and so they could ask questions because this is an interesting storm. And what I'm essentially going to do, let me take one more break for this hour. I'm going to do a total reset. I'm going to start over. I think it'd be good just to start over, show what the models are showing. 9 o'clock, usually between 9 and 9:30 is when the NAM starts up with the new run. GFS and others I'll have to just post on my Twitter feed. So let's do this. I'm going to send the link right now. Give me one moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to come back momentarily. And please feel free, share this with your friends and family. I'm willing to take as many questions as possible. We'll do a question and answer for the next hour and a half on Henri, which, again, models are showing forecast landfall noon to 2 o'clock tomorrow. And the $1 million question is going to be positioning that cutoff low when it weakens and dissolves in the upper levels. Once it weakens and dissolves and that ridge is pretty strong, then Henri is going to meander. And then it comes down to 20 to 30 miles. You're within 20 to 30 miles of that storm. That is going to be the worst part of it. So I'll take another quick break and promote this again. And please feel free. Anyone wants to ask questions, please. I'll answer. Try to answer to the best of my ability any question that is on the stream. Okay, I am back, and I want to show, again, please feel free to ask any questions. What we're going to do, first hour and 15 minutes I did, pretty much we're going to kind of do that again. So with the latest, and then the latest NAM will come out starting probably around 9:30. So just before I end, hopefully it'll be out long enough where I will have an update on that. So let me continue on with the stream. Give me one moment. So, and what I'll do is I'll show the latest HRRR first and other things. By the way, you're very welcome, Popcorn Fairy. I just wanted to, I want to make sure that, if anyone is from any area that could be in the line of fire for the storm, essentially the worst of the storm, 20 to 30 miles. That's where the worst of the storm is. And what is so important is at what time does that cutoff low completely weaken? So some of the models, GFS, hurricane models, they're suggesting that it's going to weaken just before landfall. So before it makes its northwestward meander, it's going to be pretty close to Montauk Point or even east of Montauk Point and closer to Rhode Island and we'll say closer to Rhode Island and eastern Connecticut. But the high-res NAM and the HRRR model show that cutoff low weakens sooner. And if that's the case, then that gives 3 to 6 hours for it to start making a northwestward tilt, which could mean landfall more toward the western forks, Twin Forks, and that 20 to 30 mile range, and the strength, because it's not moving that quickly, and the fact that it is so muggy out. Temperatures, we were showing temperatures. And let's show that again. I'm going to show that one more time, current temps, because the current temps are just so muggy. Let me bring that up. Here we go. I'll do a reload. And I have to, of course, show it. So there we go. Temps, you're talking 77 temp, 75 dew point at Islip, 76, 73 at Shirley, Farmingdale, 77 over 72. It's muggy. It is just soup out there. So when you look at things, and I'm going to bring up the radar, that's why you just see so much moisture just piling in. And I think one thing the models are going to get wrong on is just they have a more thin line of 4 to 8 inches of rainfall. I think it's going to be much wider than that. And you notice one thing, it is starting to move more on the westerly trend, more northwesterly. Now, again, let's take a look at the satellite. Let's go here. So here's a satellite image right now of Henri, Hurricane Henri. You see how the feeder bands are starting to bubble. It's still ragged. It really, really is. The overwhelming majority of the convection is located to the east and south of Henri. So I'm thinking here, and then I don't see right now, I still do not see the westward tilt yet. So that right now, that cutoff low is holding firm. That cutoff low is holding firm right now. Let's see if we can see that. You can kind of see, it's weak. It's right here. But once this dissolves, the timing on that means everything, because that's when Henri is going to start the westward tilt. And then the $1 million question comes down to, what time does that occur? If that occurs, because it's going to slow down, and that's the forecast for tomorrow. Slow down. All models are showing 12 o'clock to 2 is landfall. And if it slows down anymore, it could be even later. That's one. Two, Once the slowdown and that completely dissolves, it's every model and again, because it's going to meander, it's going westward. It's going northwestward. So if it's slowing down as the storm is, say, here, if you could see where I'm going, then Long Island gets spared with the wind. If it's more like here, then it's coming in. And more of Long Island is going to get hit. More of Suffolk County. Now, the only possibility, and I don't see it right now, and I'll take a look before I go. Only possibility that some of these wild models have this completely going that way, meaning completely due northwest, that cutoff low right now within the next couple hours has to be completely dissolved. And right now you can still see things firing up on it. And it's holding firm right now. It's holding firm. That's a key point. Hello, Dave. Hope you're doing well. I am doing pretty well, thank you. Please feel free to ask any questions. For Dave, he's in New Jersey. New Jersey's going to get relatively spared, and the only option New Jersey would not get spared would be that the cutoff low has to weaken within the next couple hours, and then it would be an instant due northwestward tilt with the storm. But I'm thinking that cutoff low, and let me bring up the models with that. Let me bring that up because we were showing that just now, but now we have a couple more people. And again, this is going to be on. You could share this to your friends and family, please, and I do. And please feel free to ask questions tonight, even up to tomorrow. Let's see here. There you go. So what I'm talking about is this. So this is, right now we are at 0Z. Okay. Current time is just after 0Z, approaching 1Z. This is what I'm talking about. Very weak, very, very weak upper level low. You can tell right here by the rotation here. Okay? The $1 million question is, when does that dissolve? Right now, that is the steering current for Henri. That is causing Henri to move at 18 miles an hour to the north, as you could tell. North. Question comes down to, when does that weaken? Right now, it's holding firm, but it's getting weaker. That's 3Z, which is 11 o'clock. 2 o'clock holding at its weakness, but it's starting to slow down. Still holding. Then it starts weakening. And it's gone by 15Z. So, GFS has it gone. Now, let me see if the HRRR will show this. I don't know if it's going to. I hope it does. Because this would be... Hope it does. I don't know if it's going to show it's 7. No, it's higher up. But the reason why the HRRR, and let's go northeast on it again. You can kind of see it. It's very weak. I mean, you can kind of, this is at the surface. No, this is at 700. Let's see if I can do the surface. I don't think it's going to show. No. Sorry. Let me see here. I want to try to show that. But I could tell you from the HRRR, here, we'll stop right here. I should just play it because you're going to notice that it's starting to make its westward tilt sooner. See? It starts making it sooner. However, it's getting a better handle now that the landfall is going to be I got to do it surface, sorry. That the landfall is going to be further. So it looks like the models are pretty much starting to really take, I mean, they have been, but some of them have been a little bit more anomaly. However, HRRR in the last hour, we showed this at 7 o'clock, showing more of a westward, but now at the 8 o'clock HRRR, by the way, for those not familiar with the HRRR model, it's an hourly updated model. So it updates every single hour with new data. So, but it only goes out to 17 hours. It doesn't go out that far. I just received a question from a friend about, should we expect power outages? That's a great question. This is what I'm going to say. The likelihood of power outages, I'm going to lower that. I don't know if I'm too loud, and I'm sorry if I am. But I would say the likelihood of power outages right now would be within a 25 to 35 mile range of the center of circulation. So the greatest possibility of power outages, you have to be between, I'll say 35 miles away from the center. I'll take no chances and say 50 would be a moderate chance. However, the size of this storm, and let's go to the Hurricane Center on the size. Go to the public hurricanes. And let's bring up here. Let's just bring up the warnings and watches. Hurricane warning. South shore of Long Island to Fire Island Inlet, from Fire Island Inlet to Montauk. North shore, Port Jeff Harbor to Montauk. New Haven, Westport, Massachusetts, Block Island. Everywhere at west is under a tropical storm warning. Then, of course, they have storm surge warnings, and we'll get into that. Let's show that. I think that is one thing I have not discussed so far tonight, and let's show that. The Hurricane Center does a really great job with this. And here, there's the map. I'm going to go with their potential of 3 to 5 feet storm surge for the Sound, the Forks, Buzzards, and Narragansett Bay, as well as Nantucket Sound. 2 to 4 for the South Shore. 1 to 3 for essentially East Rockaway Inlet to Cape May. There actually is a model that does that. One of the hurricane models does that. Let's take a look. I think they do. I could be wrong. No. I thought they did. Guess not. However, I mean, essentially all the models right now, just about all of the major ones, have landfall between, I'll say, Southampton and Narragansett Bay. Pretty much here to here. And the worst of it's going to be in a range of 25 to 35 miles. The other thing I wanted to read was from the public advisory. And again, please get the latest info. Go to nhc.noaa.gov, or you can go to weather.gov, go to your weather service site and get the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Let me bring that up. I think, by the way, their rainfall is 3 to 6 inches. I'm gonna tell you. Oh, with max near 10, that's about right. I think it's more like 4 to 8, max to 10, based on what we're seeing here with radar. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you already have a flash flood warning for, from JFK Airport and Brooklyn, Kings County. This filled in, and that's because there's just so much moisture out there. It is just pea soup right now. And again, even though you don't see much, I mean, I was showing this earlier. This thing bubbled in very quickly. The radar filled very, very quickly. I think for Nassau County, the city, Jersey, worst of it's going to be rain. It could be a lot of rain. Again, I'm thinking 4 to 6 inches for those areas. I think Suffolk County, you can go 5 to 8. Somebody's going to get 10 inches of rain with this. Especially as once that cutoff low completely dissolves and that storm jogs northward and northwestward and then spends Sunday and Monday meandering before it dissolves and just gets taken up by the ridge at some point. There's going to be a ton of rain that's going to output. I would be very concerned about flooding sorry, I'm making it bigger on purpose. Essentially, in this neck of the woods, a large area, relatively large area, I would be concerned about flooding, rain. And Sunday, I would advise no traveling tomorrow. And then even Monday, in this neck of the woods, I would say this area here, I wouldn't travel in the flood-prone areas on Monday. Let's see here. Now, very interesting. Just now, I got to tell you, since I came on at 7:15, and you could take a look, definitely go back. Or maybe even I can go back here. I'll start here. This is 7:15. We went on the air just after that. Pretty ragged. This is right now. Look how it's really gathering. This thing is intensifying slightly. It is starting to gain an eye. The eye was really, really red. You could tell the center's right here. And now it's starting to fill in. This storm is getting a little stronger. It's getting a little stronger now. And the question comes down to, what will be the winds at landfall? Will it be a hurricane? There's a great question. Let's look at the water temperatures. Let's see here. All right, so what you're looking here at is historical sea surface temperatures. So, and it gives a comparison between, but we're only concerned about 2021 right now. And and that actually doesn't help anybody. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. I'm going to do a quick search for sea surface temperature. northeast. Rutgers does a really good job with this. Let's see. Okay. Sea surface temperatures right now between 71, 75. Let me see if I can get it closer up. 195. Here we go. Here's a good one. I mean, 22, 23 Celsius is around 74 degrees, 75. Right now, it's in waters. Storm is in waters where it's over 80. It's still in areas where it's over 80. So that's the question: is once it goes under 80, it has to weaken because it just doesn't have. For a hurricane, Sandy, of course, was the hybrid storm. But generally speaking, for a hurricane, you need waters of 80 degrees or roughly 26 degrees Celsius or more. Right now, you don't have that. I mean, you have that. Sorry. Let me stand corrected. You have that right now on offshore. But I would say 100 miles away, your waters get pretty cool pretty quickly. So what I'm thinking is there is going to be some slow weakening with this storm. I guess the other thing I should take a look at, which I have not, to be fair, is, let's see, I'm in the wrong area. Let's look at the shear. Shear. It'd be best to show it here. Okay. Shear coming up the coast. I mean, 10 knots. I mean, again, there's the low. There's that cutoff low. Nah, I'm not impressed. So, I mean, it cuts it off a little bit. I mean, it's enough maybe to cut it off a little bit, but I don't see it. So the question comes down to the $1 million question, and this is the $1 million question, is the timing of when that low weakens. Because once that low weakens, then the tilt's definitely going to be westward. Comes down to that low weakening. And you can clearly tell, I mean, it's there. It's still there. It's holding firm. Even see, it's starting to, even at 15Z, it starts to dissolve. That's when the westward tilt begins, once the dissolving occurs. However, by then, the good news is, according to most of the models, landfall has already occurred. But again, it comes down to landfall, how much rain, and it's landfall, how much rain, and then how slow it starts moving. And by 21Z, this thing's starting to meander. I mean, look, 0Z, this storm, I got to go to the surface, sorry. 0Z, this storm is only in eastern Connecticut. That's 8 o'clock Sunday night. So here's 6 hours before. 6 hours, it moves 50 miles. Another 6 hours, it moves another 50 miles. It's actually right here. There's the center. Here's 6 more hours, another like 30 or 40 miles. It doesn't move that quickly. Which again, that's about 8 miles an hour. And it's also not a typical northeast type of hurricane. Because usually what happens is these storms move at 40 to 50 miles an hour. But Henri doesn't have a mechanism for it to move that quickly. So therefore, it's not going to happen. Also, the only way, and I am going to address this too, pretty much the only way, and I'll just come back with myself, pretty much the only way that you can get another 1938 type of storm, you need one major dynamic. You need something that moves, that has the storm move at 50 to 60 miles an hour. That is the only way that you could have another 1938 dynamic Long Island Express type storm. You would need, essentially what you would need is a front that doesn't quite make it to the island or city. Whereas the storm gets picked up and just flies up the coast. And you would need it to be a category 3 to begin with. So you would need 115 mile an hour sustained winds, gusting to 150. You would need the storm to move at 45 to 50 miles an hour. It's the only way it's going to happen. For it to hit Long Island or to have another 1938 Long Island Express. Clearly, this storm is not it. For it to hit Cape Cod and Boston, you could have a dynamic like this. But the chances of that are less than 2%. Bob was one instance, but even Bob did not get to 115 sustained. 115 gusts, really bad. Actually, I believe the gusts maxed at 125, 130, which is clearly category 3. Gusts, but that doesn't count. You need category, you would need it sustained. That's why, because our waters, essentially the northernmost point that get the waters, let me bring up the sea surface temperatures again. The northernmost point that you would roughly get waters at 26 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees. And I believe this is a good, decent map of that. Essentially, usually that occurs in September, and Atlantic City is usually the cutoff. So what you would need is a storm like Floyd. I'll give you an example. A Floyd-type storm Floyd hit in 1999. I remember because I was my second week in college when it hit. A Floyd-type storm, but stronger with the wind. Winds 115 miles an hour, but it would have to. Floyd, the one thing about Floyd was Floyd did move at 40 miles an hour. Again, that's similar to the 38. So no, Floyd would kind of be a bad example, but you would need a Floyd-type storm or a Bob-type storm that would be moving at 25, 30 miles an hour. Otherwise, it's not going to work because you don't have the waters. You just don't have the water temperatures to handle it. Because what happens is it then becomes like a deflating balloon. It starts weakening. It starts expanding and weakening. So that's pretty much it. Let's take a look. I'm actually going to, let's take a look at that. Since we have a few minutes, where do these current temps rank historically for this time? How about this? How about I'm going to look at the last 5 years and we'll take a peek. Because I have that. So let me bring that up before we go back to the subject at hand. So here's the historical SSTs. So this is 2021. And then I'll compare to 20. I kind of wish that this would be localized, but it's not. So I'm going to blow this up, or try to blow it up as much as I can. Or maybe I can't. Let's see here. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Bear with me for a moment. All right, so here's some good. Actually, this is pretty good. So here, this is 1982. We'll start with 82. We'll do like last 5 years, and then we'll start with the like really early period, and then let's see. Darn. Okay. So you look at 1982 now. So 1982 was about normal. Today, 2 degrees above normal Celsius, which actually, for this time of the year, those waters, I would say in our region, and again, I'm looking, Weatherbell does a nice job with this. I would say it's about 2 degrees above normal. Also, to be fair, our summer has been very warm in this area. A very, very warm summer in this neck of the woods. I'm going to go through the years. Let's go to 10. So 10 was actually even hotter. Locally, I mean, where I'm looking is right here. I'm looking general here. It kind of looks similar. Except you had a period here below normal. Actually, let's compare it to last year, because last year, remember, you had all those tropical systems. And if you look compared to last year is warmer here only because of Grace, to be fair. Only because of Hurricane Grace. But again, it's about a degree or two. It's not significant. Here it's about, this could be the reason why I'm surprised we're not seeing more activity here right now. I would have to look at the shear, and that would be something I would look at later. But here, I remember that there were a number of storms over here in the Eastern Atlantic last year. They were well above normal. Here, they're actually slightly below normal, this neck of the woods. And if you look here, what's going to happen is this storm is going to take so much energy that areas that are behind, so some of these areas just got hit. Obviously, it takes so much energy from them, so that's why you see these temperatures. Not in Eastern Atlantic. This is just, it's actually just below. It's actually below normal. That's interesting. One thing I have noticed compared to last year's water temperatures globally are a bit warmer last year than this year. Are warmer last year than this year a little bit. Now, with that said, you look at the anomalies, they are still above normal. They're still above your norm. As I said, in our neck of the woods, we've had a very hot summer, so that is a factor. But just looking at the maps, especially in the northern hemisphere, temperatures were warmer last year, which is not a surprise considering how many tropical systems there were globally. I mean, last year was just insane. But, we'll do a comparison 2019. I would say 2019 was cooler. 2018 was very cool. This time. Now, again, 2017, 2018, again, I have to find out when Harvey hit. I believe Harvey hit in 18. That skews it because anytime you have a major storm, it's going to take so much energy. It's actually going to cool the water down. So that's where you have to be careful with some of this stuff. You have to look at this throughout the whole summer rather than just a quick snapshot. So, but I would say compared to 2020, Northeast, similar. Northeast, and I'm not surprised because, we've been very active tropical weather-wise. So Northeast, similar. I would say Central Atlantic, cooler. Southern Atlantic. I'm sorry, not Southern Atlantic. North Central Atlantic, cooler. Central Atlantic, warmer. So if I had to make a prediction, I had to make a forecast without looking at shear, which you're going to force me to look at shear. And by the way, this storm just brought it up again. Here, let's show that. See how it's now starting to really start bubbling, starting to fill in. I wouldn't be surprised if it stays at the 75. It might even go up to 80. Seeing if that continues, and that fully bubbles in circles, with the convection, I could see this going up to 80. 80, maybe even 85. But again, once you get to here, starting here, it's going to weaken because you just don't have the 80-degree water. I mean, right now you still do, but in about 6 to 12 hours, more 6, you don't. So that's a great question. And that's why, as I said, usually the peak temps occur peak water temps occur in September. And like what you said, September, early October. So that's where we would have to take a look more closely. Let's see if I could find that from last year. Rutgers does an amazing job with their site. So let's see. Here, we'll go September. I guess not. Mm-hmm. All right, so it's not allowing me to do that. Sorry. Will allow me to do this. What if I do, say, this? This only goes back 9 days. Sorry. What if I go 10 days, September of 2020? Here. We'll go to the peak. September 10, September 19. Nothing. Oh, nothing, because obviously September 10th of 2021 hasn't occurred yet. Let's see. September 10th, by the way, is the peak of the hurricane season. So for those wondering why I'm choosing that, that's why. Nope. Sorry. I tried. But again, those temperatures are warmest during that period. Let's see if the let's take a look. We're at 9:23 Eastern on Saturday the 20th. Okay. Let's take a look if the... Nope. Not out yet. I'm waiting for the newest NAM. However, we can get another HRRR. Let's do that. By the way, HRRR model, which you can get, you can get on the hurricane, you can get on the weather, on the Climate Center site. That updates every hour. It only goes up to 18 hours. However, we're expecting landfall within 18 hours, so that's a good bellwether. Let's see here. Here you go. Landfall is more like, so landfall is around 2 o'clock. Their winds aren't that great, so I would take their winds with a grain of salt. Well, I mean, they still have gusts, 55 to 65 miles an hour. Pretty much right off Montauk Point, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock Sunday, Montauk Point. Could be a fun place for a weather enthusiast. However, I do not suggest traveling at all tomorrow. The rain is going to be very intense. Here's radar. And I'm going to show you. So even now, like, there's a lot. I mean, here, I'll start it back up. This is now. And I mean, there's these feeder bands keep developing. So hopefully the HRRR model is right on that and that it stops raining. But you notice that, starting offshore, they start developing again. So who knows if that's going to end up being right. But here. I mean, this is the radar. A lot of these higher resolution models have model radar imageries. So this is the forecasted radar for this is M tomorrow. And you see it's just coming down hard. These feeder bands are just pouring in. And again, because it's, with the landfall, it looks like the majority of the rainfall, I mean, just based on this, it looks like the majority of the rainfall is to the north and in the west. Whereas to the east, it's just wind. It's just heavy, heavy duty wind. But let's go to the gusts. I'm curious. Curious what the latest gusts show. Again, roughly 50 to 55. Max 60. Let's see if any models are out. No. 18Z. I don't want to show something that you could just easily get. You could just easily rewind. But I'm thinking, let's see here. Nope, I showed that earlier. The one model that is out is the Canadian. I think that is out. 0Z, no. However, that is the one model I did not show. Usually their winds are underestimating, so I just want to look at positioning. That's all I'm looking at with the Canadian model. I'll look at the rain too, but I'm just looking at positioning. And this is from this morning. They only output twice a day, so it's still old, but pretty much same path between here. This is Southampton, and essentially Narragansett Bay, right here. This is the bullseye. Bullseye is in this, say, roughly 75 to 100 mile area. And the worst of the wind is going to be 25 to 35 miles. That's where I would believe that the worst the wind is going to be. Power outages in that 25 to 35 mile an hour bullseye, very likely. Very likely. Whereas if you're within, say, 100 miles, not so likely. However, widespread flooding, very likely. And I'll bring that up. I'm going to bring that up. I'll bring up the GFS. And then I'll make one final call for questions, and then I will end the podcast for tonight. Let me go to here. Let's do this through 8 a.m. Monday. I mean, let's see. There you go. max 7 inches, which is probably just offshore. General areas receiving 2 to 6. I think it's going to be more. I think it's going to be more than 6 inches. Some areas are going to get up to 10. And the NAM shows that. NAM shows max 12.6. I think 12 might, if it's 12, that's scary. Whoever is in that line. But, I mean, even here, you have Islip at 6 inches of rain. Islip, Shirley, Suffolk County Airport, 6 to 7 inches of rain tomorrow. So I also think the worst of it is the worse the rain will also be the closer you are to the storm, especially if it's getting more and more compact. Sure, you're going to have feeder bands that are going to dump a quick half-inch of rain. But, I mean, you're going to get 1 to 3 inches an hour in areas that are close to the center of circulation. So, let me go back to the stream, see if anyone has any questions. It's been constant for several days. Yes, it has been. As a matter of fact, I think it's been constant since Thursday morning. I mean, Wednesday was the first hint. First hint was Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening, which is when I sent my first tweet out about it. I sent out a tweet on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, showing me the direction. Here's one. Why does Cuomo seem caught off guard? I took to Twitter today and I criticized that. Because he shouldn't have been caught off guard. Models have been doing a very good job overall since I would say the 0Z, the Wednesday night model, it really has been consistent of landfall between the Forks and Cape Cod. So, and I'll go further. PSE&G came out Friday saying there's a possibility for power outages for 7 to 10 days. I don't know how Cuomo, in his press conference today, said, that's what I understand. I understand that he had a press conference today. He says, oh, the storm, made a sudden turn. No, it didn't. If you said that on Tuesday, okay, yes. Because the original cone of uncertainty did not have the area in there. However, the models were showing the clear westward tilt. Clearly a westward tilt. And that's what I understand. That was a foolish response. But I guess he doesn't care. I mean, he's leaving, by midnight on Tuesday morning, and he's gone. So, but it just, I don't understand. Yeah. It has been very consistent for, I'm going to say 3 to 3.5 days now. 3 to 3.5 days. It's been pretty consistent. As a matter of fact, there's a way to prove me wrong. I'm actually going to show you. So Mush68 and Mush68, if you are one of my family or friends, you could feel free to text me who you are. And I won't say your name. But there's a comment that I will not post, and I did see that. I did see the comment. I would need to see a lot more on it. However, there has been data. I just want to real quick, the question that was brought up. There was actually a research paper that came out showing that those who use a nasal spray and mouthwash within 24 hours of contracting COVID are 19 times less likely to be hospitalized. And one of the nasal sprays actually is something I use. I use twice a day, which is a Nasamist. It costs about $8. You get, say, 2 months worth. For, I would say, about a month's worth. 2 months worth if you do once a day, but I do it twice a day, so I get about a month's worth. And I've been using it for almost 2 years, twice a day, every day. And then a mouthwash I've been using for many years. But I still think more research needs to be done on that before we could say that mouthwash is, a helper. Again, I think more research needs to be done on that, and much more research. I'm not fully convinced. However, let's go back to weather and tropical tidbits. If you want a good free site, tropical tidbits is this. Tropical tidbits run by. I want to make sure I get his name. It is run by Levi Cowan. Dr. Levi Cowan. He does an outstanding job. He has messages in the here. Interesting. We were talking about the SSTs before. He actually has something on here. You could watch his YouTube video, but tropicaltidbits.com. Tropicaltidbits.com. So here is the proof that the models have been consistent for a few days. So we're going to go to, this is Wednesday afternoon. Around Cape Cod. Thursday. We'll go Thursday. Or toward Boston. Thursday morning. More toward Boston. Oh, hold on. To be fair. Remember, I actually gotta go back. Hold on. I got to go back. And the only reason why I have to go back is because, here we go. I mean, the difference between this is Thursday, and now, hold on, before landfall, is roughly 30 miles. Is roughly 30 miles. So, I don't know where he was caught off guard. And again, this is just one model. So if you go to this is the overnight run yesterday. Now, this only goes back a couple days. It has landfall on Long Island. So I don't understand how he was caught off guard. There's not much difference. 30 miles westward. Here you go. 30 miles westward. I don't understand how he was caught off guard. Much less if there's any meteorologists on staff. I mean, this is Thursday night's run. This is 8 p.m. Thursday night. Here, I'll bring up the NAM. Oh, they have the HRRR here. So, Tropical Tidbits, good site. Here. I mean, this is really remarkable. Look where the difference is between there and there. Sorry. There barely isn't any. So, and again, this is the low-res NAM. I don't get it. Here's the high-res NAM. There. Sorry, this only goes out 60 hours. My apologies. But the 12 should be good enough. I think the 12 goes out. So I understand the general area. Oh. Yes. Yes. And hello to Michelle. Hope you're having a great night. And again, I just showed you the models. Or did I? Oh, whoops. I did not. I don't think I showed them. And I greatly apologize if I did not. I'm going to show you again. Nope, I did not. Sorry. All right, let's do that again. So let's start with the NAM. Okay, here you go. And I'm going to bring up, just look at the positioning of where the low could hit. There's not much difference between here and here. That's the NAM. Here's the GFS. GFS here. Here. There's a difference here. But again, we're talking, this is Wednesday afternoon. And at that point, I said Cape Cod has to be concerned. Further west. Oh, sorry. And continues to move further west. And then by 6Z Friday, it's lined up. So, that's almost 48 hours ago. And clearly showed the westward tilt. Here's another one. Here, I'm going to bring it up to 18Z. The hurricane models are showing landfall. The forks. And this is Thursday. Here's Thursday. Okay. Interestingly enough, this model has been consistent. It's showing offshore. Let me go to the H-Wharf. They're showing landfall offshore. The difference isn't that significant. So, again, I don't know where the catching off guard is. Because the major models, which is the NAM and the GFS, those are the two main American models. And then, of course, you have the hurricane models. They're the ones that have been... The GFS in particular has been continuing to move west. But the NAM, which only goes out to 84 hours, has been very consistent the entire way. And I'm thinking the NAM could be the big winner in track with this. The NAM could end up being the big winner on track. So, again, I don't know where it's caught off guard because the models were showing Long Island, Eastern Connecticut, Rhode Island. And I'm talking about Eastern Long Island. I should say Eastern Long Island. with the possibility of a lot of rain in a lot of areas. So landfall is expected between 12 and noon tomorrow, either between Southampton. If it doesn't make landfall on Long Island tomorrow, then it'll be around 4 o'clock somewhere in eastern Connecticut or southern Rhode Island, in reference to landfall. So, the question was, when is expected to make landfall? So, of course, I'm doing this alone. If there's any other questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, I'm going to end the broadcast. This was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun tonight looking at this. Please share it. I think, let's take a look before I go off air. I think let's see. Yep. Initialize now. Let's see how many. All right. It's only out. We're going to have to wait another 15, 20 minutes, and then it'll be out more time. However, while we're at it, let's take another look at Henri, and then we'll get another update. Let's see. Are they doing, at some point, they're going to be doing hourlies. They're going to be doing hourly updates on Henri as it gets closer. But as we're waiting for the new models, the new NAM to come out, to go out long enough. I just want 24 hours. That's all I need. So here's the advisory. National Hurricane Center. Highly recommend get your updates there. You can go to weather.gov, National Weather Service, Hurricane Center. I've been using, of course, for many, many years, the better part of 2 decades. And they do an outstanding job with coverage. Latest advisory, 8 p.m. Eastern, 75 mile an hour sustained winds, moving north-northeast at 18. However, the forecast, as we said before, going to slow down. And one thing I can show is the reason why we're going to see the slowdown. The reason why we're going to see the slowdown is because of this. There's a cutoff low here. Very, very strong ridge. So, cutoff low is here. Strong ridge. Let's bring it to the northeast so people could see what I'm talking about. Cutoff low. Strong ridge. Here's Henri. So, now I got to go to the surface because surface. Okay. $1 million question comes down to, this is 5 a.m. 5 a.m. Still moving. 5 a.m. Let's see if no, not going yet. Okay. And upper level wind. Still there. That low's staying intact, which means it's still moving north. Once this low gets dissolved, once this low weakens, dissolves, there's no forcing, there's no mechanism for Henri to move. Therefore, it's going to start meandering to the west and northwest. The question comes down to, when does that occur? At 9Z, it's still holding, but it's weakening. So, question comes down to, when does that occur? And we're at 12Z now. It's still there to a degree. It's definitely weak. It's weak. Let's see. Is it stronger up here? All right. It's a little. All right. It's there. It's there, but it's weak. Okay. It's there. That's going to help it. It's going to help move it. It's definitely there. Positioning. I gotta tell you, because it's still there. That positioning, that westward tilt, it's not, I'll go forward. That westward tilt, it's just starting. That westward tilt. Just starting. I really want to wait till 15. Let's see. No, can't. I'm going to stay on until this goes out to 24 because I think it's very important for us to see that. That's the first of the new model runs. I do want to see precip. I want to see what's going on precip-wise. Wow. Oh, this is okay. I'm wondering why do I see 132? It's you got to go to inches. There we go. However, was that our feeder bands? At least this model's got, and again, you can see it from here. Of course, the last 10 minutes, the radar has not been cooperative. All right, let's bring it back up. That's why I think the models are off, and I think that it's going to be widespread 4 to 6. These feeder bands just keep developing and developing. It's been all night. When we started the podcast at 7:15, they were only starting to develop. Now they're just freely developing with the amount of moisture in the air. 76 dew point 74 with a thunderstorm at Farmingdale. 76 over 76 at Iceland. These 75 over 75 at Kennedy. There's so much moisture in the air right now. 77 over 75 at FLK. There's so much moisture in the air right now. They're just going to freely develop easily. These feeder bands are just going to freely develop with no problems all night. You notice how as soon as you think it's almost over, here comes another line. So that's what's going to happen, I think, during the evening. There will be a break. There will definitely be a break. But, and again, the break's here. However, that doesn't mean that at a moment's notice, something's not just going to develop. And I think it will. Let's take a look. I wanted, Farmingdale in particular. Let's look at Islip. They had 0.2 of an inch in an hour. 0.2. General is 0.2. Kennedy, about 800s. That's the P group, if those are wondering. In many areas, frequent. Newark is just heavy rain right now. So the models are even underdoing this. Here's 15Z. Let's go to wind at 15Z. Again, the positioning is about the same as 12. Almost identical. I mean, this was the model 12 hours ago. Here's the run now. Almost identical. Almost identical. So that tells me that I'm just thinking that, let's see, there's a better view. I mean, here's now, here's 12 hours ago. It's about the same. And I'll take that win. The win here, I think the winds are going to be stronger. I think the winds are going to be stronger. Here, we'll go to 18Z now. Let's look at the positioning. A little further north and west. Just about landfall. So first the models are out, and the 12Z NAM, the high res won't come out till a little later, or at least I don't think it'll come out till a little later. Let's take. Oh, it's out. Yeah, but it lags behind. So let's take a look at that. Let's do that real quick. It lags behind, so, and we'll do a quick comparison. There, compared to, it's actually further east. Further east, weaker. Further east, weaker. Interesting. Further east, weaker. More traditional. And it has that low kind of still kicking in here. Let's go previous run. A little further west. And again, this has been the model that's been most west. So that's why I want to stay on this for another few hours. I want to stay on this one more time. Grace made landfall in Mexico yesterday. Very nasty. And Grace is pretty much dissolved. Just the remnants are going to affect the area. Michelle had asked about Grace. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually take a quick break. I am going to have a quick drink of water. I'm going to keep the model up. I want to keep the NAM up, the high-res NAM. I want to keep that up. And you'll notice over here, you'll notice the yellow line here. Of course, I'm pointing and nobody could see that. But the once that goes further, that means there's been more to the model. So if anything, this model has been going further east. That's important because, as I said, 25 to 35 mile is going to be the worst of it. You could tell The wind swath is tight. The rain swath is large. Rain is definitely going to be rain and flooding are going to be a major issue with this, with some of the forecasts going up to 10 inches of rain. And what I'm going to do is, rather than put that up, I'm going to put up the current radar, and I will be right back. I'll be right back, and we'll take a look at Okay, I am back, and the model has gone out pretty far now. Let's take a look at that. Let's see. Interesting. Even the westernmost model now has landfall That's 1 o'clock tomorrow, right off Montauk Point. And weaker. Let's take a look at the rain. Look at the rain. Look at the rain outputs. 4 inches, 4, 5, again, roughly 4 to 6 inches. And so the tell on that, and so I guess the question I'm going to be asked the most, where's the wind? Let me remove this and go back just to me. So, in conclusion, the biggest concern that I have with this is the rain. For, I would say, definitely the city, definitely points away from the coast. Nassau County could have gusts up to tropical storm. I would say could gust up to 50. Sustain around 30 to 35. I mean, again, I'm just basing this on what I see, models-wise. I think all the models are showing that the bullseye, sorry, I'm going to go back to the current satellite. It's showing essentially the bullseye is pretty consistent. I will say the flare-up around the center of circulation has been pretty nice. And you can definitely see the slowdown. But I don't see winds gusting to 65 miles an hour or more in the city or in Nassau County. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I would say the worst would be 60 to 75 in that 30-mile range like I've been saying all night. That 30 to 40, that the 25 to 35 mile an hour range I've been saying all night. Nearest to the center of circulation. I kind of wish, one thing I do kind of wish was I had a pen that I could draw, but I don't have it. Sorry. Maybe if I take up a collection, I'll start a GoFundMe for one of those pens. But I think you kind of get the gist. And I was glad I was able to take some questions. Again, I strongly do not advise travel tomorrow. Anywhere on the I-95 corridor from, I would say, Philadelphia, which, again, that area could still get 2 to 3 inches of rain. I would say Philadelphia up to Boston and even points north of that is going to be very hairy for traveling tomorrow. I would say more Trenton, especially I-95 corridor, from city to, say, Boston, New York City, I mean, to Boston, and then Long Island, Southern Connecticut, Rhode Island, Cape Cod. I would not advise traveling tomorrow. It's just weather is going to be very, very hairy. And then what's going to happen as the rain is still going to be there, even as the storm weakens wind-wise, the rain intensity is still going to be there, which is why excuse me, I meant to do a quick mute, but which is why I see the possibility of upwards of 10 inches of rain somewhere. That is a possibility with the amount of rain and the amount of moisture that's in the air to begin with. And I showed you all night, dew points are in the mid-70s. There's plenty of juice to support this. So I just want to say, be safe tomorrow. Hopefully flooding is limited. Hopefully there are few power outages. As I said, the likelihood of a power outage would be within 25 to 35 miles from the center of circulation. That's where I would be. That's the bullseye. But again, once again, thank you for tuning in to episode 9 of Joe's Place, the Joe Giannotti podcast. Episode 10, which I am going to have an episode 10 within the next few days, is going to be on Rumble. I'm going to post it only on my Rumble feed. It is an important podcast that I feel like there's not many people really discussing, that it does need a discussion. And I'm going to just post it on my Rumble feed, and that's going to be sometime next week. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, I'm on Twitter at Joe Giannotti, as well as let me create a new banner. My main Twitter, that's the show, that's the broadcast Twitter, but my main Twitter, of course, is at Stanley Cup OT. So you can feel free to ask me questions there. I'm going to be posting another update before I go to bed tonight. And you could, please share this video. It looks like the forecast is not changing from, or at least the start of the new model runs that have just come out long enough are showing that there really isn't much change from what I talked about earlier. So once again, thank you for tuning in to Saturday evening's Joe's Place, the Joe Giannotti podcast. Hope you have a great night. And for those in the Northeast dealing with the havoc of dealing with the dealing with Henri tomorrow, please be safe. Thank you again. Have a great night.